Hi, my name is Mackenzie Pyatt. I'm here with Kevin Gillespie, who heads up a growing family of health and community development enterprises, including integrated services for behavioral health. We've created a YouTube series called Healthy People, Strong Communities. Part of a more collaborative approach includes new ways of looking at substance use behaviors in a much broader context. You may have heard of harm reduction, but don't know much about it. Kevin, why don't you tell me how you came to learn about harm reduction?
Well, Mackenzie, in this entire series, we've been talking about the idea that really people mostly take care of their own health issues. Well, that seems, for me personally, equally true for substance use behaviors, addiction, dependency, small problems with substance use, everything in between. So some years ago, I went out looking for an approach that was sort of more consistent with the way that we as a behavioral health company approach mental health. And I found a guy named Andrew Tatarsky, who, among other leaders in the nation, tends to be like so many new ideas, it tends to be an East Coast, West Coast kind of thing. So Andrew is in New York City, and he's a part of something called the Center for Optimal Living. I found Andrew at a conference and approached him, much like previously we talked about finding Bill Madsen to write the book Collaborative Helping. Well, it was the same with Andrew, and Andrew had taken many of the ideas about harm reduction. A lot of people know about harm reduction as like needle exchange programs where you reduce the harm of the risky health behavior by allowing people who have an addiction to heroin using clean needles, reduce the risk of HIV transmission and so on. Well, he had applied some of those ideas of harm reduction working with his mentor, Alan Marlatt, more broadly to therapy itself, but then also to healthcare in general. So I basically got to know Andrew, and through him, the others in the harm reduction community, and began to do some of the applied work in our company as well.
Andrew sounds really interesting. Maybe he could even join us sometime as part of our series?
Yeah, we're probably going to do a 3-day conference sometime next year, and I think he can probably come here for one of our Healthy People, Strong Community videos.
That's great. So how is harm reduction different from the other approaches?
Well, you know, I'm going to go over some main points here, but it's really not that complicated. So we live in a culture who, on one hand, gives us all the permission in the world to use substances. Just look at the commercials on during the Super Bowl or all of our sporting events. We're here at a university that it's really almost a rite of passage to have a lot of experience with substance use. Alcohol being the main one. A lot of interest in opioids now, and it's a terrible problem that we deal with every day in our work. But alcohol is still far and away our biggest substance use problem. So it's about meeting people where they are in their own lives in the context of all their health behaviors, like eating, for instance. Well, we all eat. We don't all use substances, but a lot of us do. Many people use substances. Alcohol, again, being the main one, but cigarettes and so on. So it's about meeting people where they are and supporting people wherever they may be in their predisposition to changing their health behavior, and supporting people to manage their own affairs. So having said that, I would say the main principles of harm reduction are moving beyond disease, beyond a treatment thing, to more of a personal health perspective of supporting people to manage their own health affairs. It's definitely about expanding the boundaries outside of abstinence only. That is to say, if you come to me as a treatment provider, I don't insist that you choose to become abstinent today. You may or you may not, but I'm going to meet you wherever you are and support you to be as healthy as you want to be today. It's embedded with a new view of people who use substances and also of substance use disorders themselves. Take some of the morality out of it, take all of the judgment out of it, and just view people as people with substance use, again, to repeat myself, as one behavior among a whole range of personal health behaviors. Again, like diet. Again, an invitation to come as you are. You don't need to be ready to change your substance use behaviors to be more, you don't need to have bottomed out. You just come as you are. If you feel like you'd like to work on your substance use behaviors to become more healthy, then just come and you're accepted, and we're going to, as healthcare providers, we're going to help you to be as healthy as you want to be. And then a disciplined approach that includes any positive change attitude. So in the harm reduction community, we encourage small changes, like a classic one, just as by example with alcohol. If you have a terrible problem with using too much alcohol, one choice that many people can get to is switching from distilled spirits, just taking that off the table and restricting it to beer. Well, that's an incremental change. It's not abstinence, but it's a good, healthy change that if on this day, if you want to make that choice, we're here to support you in that choice. That was a bit long-winded, but there you go.
So can harm reduction work alongside other traditional treatment methods?
Boy, can it. Absolutely, without a doubt. And that is, there's some chafing between the traditional abstinence-only treatment community and the harm reduction community. And from the perspective of harm reduction, they can fit perfectly well and align together. There are some people who relate more in a personal way to the more traditional abstinence-only treatment community, but then there are huge numbers of people who relate to more of a harm reduction approach. But there's nothing mutually exclusive. They can exist and support each other and align perfectly well.
So how do these ideas fit within our Healthy People, Strong Community series?
Well, as you know, we've been talking about shifting away from a focus on disease treatment to the things that people can do to manage their own health status. Things like weight, things like exercise, things like, calorie intake. Like at Integrated Services, we have a long-standing campaign of Water First for Thirst, to think about switching out, at least in part, from high-calorie soda to water for hydration. You know, subtle things. Well, harm reduction as it relates to substance use, people's own personal substance use behaviors and substance use disorders themselves, it relates perfectly well to all the other health issues. Oh, and the same thing for mental health problems like depression, for instance. You know, we meet people where they are and support them wherever they may be to make incremental changes. Then again, if you want to make if you want to move to abstinence only overnight, well, we're there for you for that too. Much like if you wanted to make a focused, intense change in your exercise and diet. Well, some people want to do it slowly, some people want to do it overnight. Just depends on who you are. Well, we're there for you and we want to support you. So substance use, I like to compare it to diet. It sort of fits into the larger health picture just like that.
Okay, so it seems like people can make however many changes they want.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for sharing all of this information with us. If you'd like to learn more about harm reduction, you can visit integratedservice.org. Thanks for watching.